Yeah, welcome to the Kubeflow community call. Today is Tuesday, April 15th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you everybody for joining. I'm going to share the notes here. Um, as always, we follow the CNCF code of conduct, so please be nice, and I'll leave it here in the notes for you all to read. Are there any new members that would like to introduce themselves? Or any old members that would like to introduce themselves? You're always welcome too. We're glad you're here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bring your hats and your emojis. Um, oh, yes, please.
Hello, my name is Adrian. I just joined the Kubeflow community. Um, I work in a similar product on Red Hat, on platform, and let's see.
Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome to the community. Yeah, there are a bunch of Red Hatters here. Probably too many. Just kidding. So thank you for coming. Yeah, Akash.
Yeah, I have joined before also. I gave an introduction, but again, to everyone. Hi, I'm Akash. I'm based in Hyderabad, India. I work at Oracle as DevOps engineer. And yeah,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, from work as well as here also, I was looking for other things for open source project to contribute. So one to led to another. I think I first started with Volcano. From Volcano, I came to Qflow. And here I am. I think we have today, at least I have one proposal for GNI Playground. So yeah, we'll see. And yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks.
awesome, Akash. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for following up. Yeah, I remember you DMing me. So awesome. All
Mm.
right. Andre, I think you had some agenda items that you wanted to go through. Are you on the call?
Yeah, so just give me a second. Do we have any other short items you want to talk about, and I can discuss this in
Yeah.
like 5 minutes, Francisco? All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah, of course. So let me let me move a couple items here. Let's always be tactical. Um actually we'll go with Eder. Eder, do you want to kind of go first here?
It's a kick shot out for everyone in the community. We are starting to run this survey. We start too soon, and we are getting participants because we are planning model registry new Y for 111 and also notebook 2.0. So there is a form there, and even if you're not involved with model registry or you are involved with other projects, please go there and fill your information. And one of the teams from Red Hat that is a user researcher, so people that you actually user research, they help us to shape the future of the Kubeflow wise, starting by model registry notebook 2.0. So all the help from the community will be valuable, and we're looking forward for people to participate, especially the leads here. We'd love to hear your opinion.
Awesome. Eder, this is not an HTTP URL. It's not a hyperlink. It's just a link.
Just this detail, right?
It's a blue link. It's a
Yeah,
blue text.
it's just a blue underlined word.
It's not clickable.
I link it in the
Yeah.
under section as well, so that it usually just link, under the colon section.
Yeah.
The
Now I do.
Kubeflow socials also shared that. So if people want to repost that and get more people following the Kubeflow socials as well as filling out that survey, you'd all be heroes. We'd get you medals.
Thank you so much, Chase. So, shout out, even if you don't work, we are interested in model registry and not interested in notebook for now, please fill the survey because we are getting information for everyone. We're going to share this data with all the community and you will reach out for the next projects on the way.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and thank you, Jenny. Jenny is on the call here. Jenny is my peer from Red Hat UX. She's the lead there, and she's here to help us.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Yeah, just to echo the statement I put in the chat. But yeah, please fill out that survey so we can continue to iterate and improve on those UIs. That's going to be critical for us for the next steps to continue to build and improve on those. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Saad, did you want to go over the Kubeflow SDK proposal?
Yeah, I wanted to go over the SDK proposal, and it's actually we need Andre, so not sure if we can proceed
Andre,
without him.
Are you back on?
I'm here. Yeah, let's quickly talk about it and we can swap to the next topic. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Andre, how's it going? So, when are we going to create the repository for the SDK and officially start? I know like we have a KIP in progress, and should we like continue reviewing this KIP or?
Yeah, sure. So I think like I left one comment on the cap, so we'll give 4 more days for committee to comment. Otherwise we will just merge it and I will start creating a repo from I think next week. Because we're planning to actually have the official release of Trainer 2.0 in April. So for us it's also important to decouple SDK from the release. Yeah, so I guess like this week
What's the
for
target?
comments. Yeah.
What's the
Sorry,
deadline?
sorry.
April 30th? Or
So
like,
target for release, you mean, for Trainer release?
yeah.
For Kubeflow Trainer release, I think the target we need to discuss on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, but I hope we can target this month to make the release. It really depends on features we want to add.
Gotcha.
And this blueprints, the one of the big thing is like about this LLM trainer, the things we've done with TorchTune. If you want to include, you might need to spend some time there. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And similarly, like for the local execution, should we also postpone that to the AutoML discussion or?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Let's maybe set up the repo first, and then we can also, speak about local execution that you've done with the team.
Yeah, I think we should discuss that on Wednesday. If actually, just
Yeah.
Saad, can you just put it on the agenda? I think that
I will. Yeah, I will do that now. Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Andre, did you want to go next?
Yes. So first of all, I think it's about the community call about graduation. Maybe it's a quick one. So I think I think I already told us about this before last week, but we had a lot of great conversation at KubeCon around where community is going towards to and where Kubeflow, should go next. So one of the topics from Ciencia was we should tackle graduation as fast as we can. And it will be really nice if we can graduate the project before November, so before KubeCon Atlanta. And I think for us it's very important to start like some of these checklists. I know Julius and team be working on some security issues and other things, but the most important, we want to have regular sync ups on this. So my proposal is to change this meeting to bi-weekly community calls and a bi-weekly graduation meeting to make sure we have a place to discuss this important, because I think like for all this momentum going on, we should just continue this. And graduation is like one of the most important things for us to move forward, because Kubeflow is the only one project in CNCF right now which can be under graduation for the AI and ML space.
So wait, are you proposing to replace one of these meetings with that or something?
Yes, I propose to replace one of these meetings for graduation meetings, and one of these meetings for community meetings.
I do worry that we do always have a lot of topics in these meetings though. And they might end up just bleeding into each other otherwise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. So I think we've done this before. So historically, this meeting was run bi-weekly. Then we changed it to weekly when we moved to the incubation a year ago. Sorry, 2 years ago. So I just like, from my point of view, I think this is the most important topic for the overall Kubeflow success, which means like the whole community, should kind of allocate some time in this. Yeah, Ricardo, you have your hands up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the main context for the sync up meetings is just, talk to the ones involved with the graduation step and just do some sort of Scrum stand-up meetings, like what's blocking, what's not blocking. What's the main proposal for those meetings?
Yeah, so the main goal of all working groups to attend it and to discuss what are the blockers, because I think the main blocker is like, the primary things for us to do is security audit, which can take up to 3 to 4 months to complete. And we want to initiate this process right now. So folks from security team and CNCF can tell us what we need to work on. But it's important for all the working groups to attend those bi-weekly calls. So if something needs to be done on the project side, they kind of prioritize it.
Right.
Yeah,
We can
sorry.
think alternatively to get the first 30 minutes before the Kubeflow community call and meet all together to talk about those topics, maybe. I mean, 30 minutes, I believe it's enough, right?
I think like we started to go through this before. We can probably take this offline. I want to let Valentina share some thoughts too. But what I would what I suggest is that graduation is important. I think if we don't force ourselves to spend time on it, it's like going to be this thing that just drags on. And so I actually am very pro us repurposing a chunk of the community time. I know that doesn't feel awesome, but I think it's the right thing to do. Valentina?
Yeah, no, I agree with everyone. I think we discussed with Andre the same thing. It's a very important topic for us. So one idea will be what if we do like a kickoff meeting, when we all recognize and identify what is that's needed to do. I already review some of it. I know I can contribute to some of them. But maybe we identify, okay, who will be, contributing to this. And then I think, I don't know, we could use some of this time maybe to go over some of the blockers and, have like 15 minutes maybe from this meeting. One of my concerns is, we have so many meetings sometimes, right? But I think if we plan, in one meeting, okay, who are the responsible, who will be working on what is that we need to discuss. We leverage also Slack for, communication, don't wait to meetings. That could help us, once we meet here weekly, is to say, hey, I have a blocker. This is something I need to discuss with everyone in the community. And that could be more efficient. I mean, we can try and see. I mean, worst thing that can happen is 1 week we find out, hey, actually we need more time or we need less time. But I do think like if we keep it within this meeting, could give us the opportunity to don't forget about it, right? And don't miss the other meetings. So I think we could make it work, maybe just dedicating some time from this meeting to that. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so again, I guess from my point of view, we should kind of sacrifice some of those topics to graduation, and kind of a lot of things we discuss in this call can be discussed async,
Yeah.
even the important parts, right?
Yep.
And we've been doing this for many years before incubation to have these biweekly calls. So I don't think it's bad for us to make this split. And if we finish it early, we can just swap it back after some time, right? It's totally
I
fine.
think
Yeah, good.
I think that's again, I think that's the right call because we do need to get to graduation and like we don't want to necessarily stop the community calls. So we'll like repurpose one, and once we're done, we can repurpose it back to weekly community calls. And I think like the benefit is that we can be just transparent about the graduation process and people can come in and we can just say, hey, this week it's graduation. Feel free to hear some of the, paperwork stuff and
Also, I think making sure that the leads attend, because some leads don't attend these because they don't want to deal with all the community crap, but they, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of
Yeah,
we can be like, no, we're only going to talk about graduation. But also, I just want to highlight one thing: we like there's going to be some really complicated questions that we need to discuss that the KSC is going to have to step in on for the graduation stuff, which we need to be careful about what's allowed to be decided by the community versus the KSC and things like
No,
that.
I agree, Matthew. Yeah, I very much agree. And again, like some things we can discuss in private as the KSC, and like some things we want to be transparent. We'll always be explicit about which one and where. And what I think is we'll probably be very, very explicit about requiring working group leads to attend some of these graduation discussions. And so like I want to emphasize that very clearly so that people understand that like we'll tag and try to handle async, but and we can't like explicitly require to be mandatory, but we're gonna get close. I do want to make sure that graduation is super important. Anyways, I think we can move on. Oh,
Maybe
Chase.
just I see Chase, you have your hands up. Good.
Yeah, my request is let's just make sure. I think the community call is very generic and general. We haven't even tacked down kind of what makes sense to talk about in the community call versus a graduation call. So let's just make sure we scope them properly so we don't get off topic, especially since we really want to push graduation going forward, right? So let's just make sure that things, as Matthew said, don't bleed over. And and if we need the community calls, I mean, I think they're great to have weekly. I think they're a different crowd. But let's figure this out. I mean, do we put this to a vote? How do we decide this? Is this something that just the KSC determines, or can we reach out to the community and ask them how frequently they want to meet?
I think judging by the numbers, I think the community likes the weekly cadence, but I think I think the KSC will decide here. Okay. So let's move
Yeah,
on.
just maybe one thing. I think we will also create a Slack channel for graduation checklist, and I think we should make it public, right? And invite all these people there. All right.
Absolutely. That's probably the first
Yep.
step. And then we should agree, because we should agree on what we're trying to graduate with. I think, Andre, you keep bringing this
Yeah,
up as
yes,
well, which is
yes,
we can't
yes.
really have a discussion meeting until we agree what we're graduating as.
So what
Yeah,
is that
yes,
the
yeah.
KSC then? Is that the community that's responsible? Who's got ownership over the graduation as a community? How do we dedicate people that are really hunting this down and keeping this on track?
So historically, it's been, at least for the last several months, it's been the KSC trying to push this along, and chipping away at it. Now,
So
definitely, go ahead.
during incubation, there is kind of like was a volunteer based, and I know that Anna was helping us a lot, and some other folks, I think from VMware, from Red Hat, was kind of pushing us for this, But on incubation side, it was easier in terms of checklist. I think like the important thing, we just need to agree what projects we need to, decide to this checklist and how we will move forward to the graduation. Because it doesn't mean, for example, like all these new projects coming in, we don't need to graduate them. They could be in the incubating stage for some time. So I guess,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know if that's true, right? Because the whole project needs to graduate, and then we'd need to discuss that with the CNCF if we were allowed to effectively be a
Yeah. So
sub-foundation.
we
Otherwise,
already discussed it. It's true. So Argo has done this. Argo has this project lab, GitHub organization, which is sort of incubation stage and not part of Argo graduation, official graduation project on the CNCF. So there are several things we can do to see how we can move, like what projects we want to put to the graduation.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have people that in their minds are accountable for this and are trying to move this forward, that have, dedicated cycles that we can track. Otherwise, it's like everyone's half tracking and then no one's really tracking. And the KSC is already pretty saturated. So do we need a committee? Do we need a group? How does that go?
Yeah, we need we need working group alignment and people who are actually responsible for the work. We need all the working groups to understand this is a high priority for our community. We should kind of try to deprioritize all the tasks we're working on and focus on, first of all, resolve this graduation checklist. And I'm talking about, projects which already been in the Kubeflow for a long time, which is already part of Kubeflow, which is not like in a discussion, we have new projects coming in, right? Or new projects we want to join. So I'm talking about like, the core of ecosystem. Yeah, but anyway, I think like we can sync up offline. We need to get alignment from working groups. And we just need for everyone to understand this high priority for Kubeflow.
Yes. Cool.
Got one question.
Yeah, sure.
This just seems like it would have a lot of value potentially to end users, especially those that for fixing security bugs, whatever. Is there some way, some role that we can make for an end user some limited period of time that they can kind of feel like they're participating, maybe even helping lead some part of this? I know the Capital One folks at one point, were like, hey, we have to rewrite a bunch of stuff in order to implement Kubeflow in our environment. But just imagine if the community was moving towards things that would help people to stop that integration work. And I think some of it comes around the security validation and other types. Just a question of how we could get the users to play a more important role on this graduation.
I think as normal though, like they should just contribute to the project, and then that's the way to help, I guess, right? Like they should, if they care about notebooks, they should go notebooks. If they care about workspaces, they should do the same thing. Pipelines, pipelines. I don't know, but I agree that having community input is important, especially once we start making decisions like what parts are we graduating with. If we decide that we're not going to graduate with something, or we decide that we're going to move some things to stay in an incubator stage, that's a discussion that the community should have some agreement with, probably.
So I think, Josh, as part of graduation, there will be security audit, which will, basically CNCF hire security professionals to tell us what are the problems we need to fix. And it's like, I agree that it's important to get a user input, our input, and get the help from them. For this, we try to start this, user advisory group or end user advisory group. It's not been official yet, but I think as we discussed with you previously, it's important for us to have this, user interviews regularly. But for this kind of graduation, I think so. CNCF right now doesn't have any project in ML or AI umbrella under even incubation. So Kubeflow is kind of like one of the most mature projects right there. And if we go to graduation, I guess it's kind of like open, kind of like explain, especially people who never heard about Kubeflow, that hey, this project was here like for a very long time, right? We started this in 2017. Like since we're kind of in the graduation stage, I hope users will invest more time to us and to the community, right? I think it's also important for us to understand because there are many users who are just starting their journey with Kubernetes right now, especially on ML space.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm saying here, Andre, is if you could give an end user specific, hey, for 1 quarter, we need you guys to show up to this meeting. It's bi-weekly, and we're going to fix this for you. I think we'll likely get some folks to show up for some period of time, right? They can show it on their MBOs. Hey, I did this over the last quarter. So their boss will say, okay, and they get something out of it. You know what I mean? Which is long-term fixes in a way that they can implement faster. So just something to think about. But I would give them some type of role or something, that is at the par of a working group lead in some ways in terms of.
Yeah. So basically giving them recognition, right, for the work they're doing. You mean, right, Josh? Some sort of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
I think good.
We had some good conversations at KubeCon too, and I think that's another good place where users were running into issues. And I love that idea of let's being part of this graduation call, let's help us help you and move forward. So I think we might have some resources already we can invite.
You could see a KubeCon call, how I helped Kubeflow graduate, by Capital One, right? And fix the security bugs. That would be a fantastic use case. And
I agree. And I think that we need to figure out what's in it for them. And that's how we pitch it, right? Instead of saying, aren't you lucky to be part of Kubeflow? We can say, look at you can say you contributed to. We'll help, evangelize that you did this work. We'll help, boost your brand and your objectives for Kubeflow, for using Kubeflow.
Yeah, definitely. I think like maybe one of the opportunities could be to highlight some of those companies and individuals, right? It could be in adopters files, it could be in a website, right? I think like Chase or Josh, if you have some ideas to propose, I think we should talk about it. How to get those individuals, especially who invested their time to graduation, some recognition, right? Because I don't think we have a process right now, unfortunately, right?
Awesome. Topic for a different time. Yeah.
Right.
How can we incentivize people in general, right? For the Kubeflow project.
Yep. Makes sense.
Cool.
I created a new channel for graduation. It's public now, so it's listed in the meeting. So please, if you're not there, join us. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I think probably this will be an ongoing discussion. So let's keep going because we don't have infinite time.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hear.
Also, I don't want to get this. I want to get this demo. Yeah.
Yeah, and so maybe I have the documentation. Maybe, and do you mind if you can start with a little bit of intro of what exactly it is? Then I'll go with the
Yes.
actual technical details. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I just give a little bit of context about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think we started the discussion, I think, before KubeCon in sometime in February. So one of the goal was to, okay, Kubeflow has a great ecosystem of the projects, right? But the problem is like how we can show the power for end users and how we can give them a sort of sandbox or workshop or playgrounds where people can quickly, understand the value of tools we're building. So one of the ideas was to actually partner with different organizations to see how we can build those playgrounds and actually have an ability for users to quickly experiment with interfaces, right? So for example, open the Kubeflow notebook, select like LLM blueprint, quickly fine tune their models and quickly serve it and see the results and everything using this single, like interface. So folks can see like the power of tools we're building and also understand like how it can be integrated with their internal systems. We also understand like this is the kind of like a managed service we're talking about. And there are several, like opportunities we have. One of the opportunity could be just to have this in the conferences, like, as a workshop in the KubeCon or like in other conferences where people can just come in, open our laptop, or we can show them some demos with GPUs and with infrastructure that some organizations give us. And with that, like we started this conversation with Oracle and Oki folks to see how we can build this playground using their infrastructure. Because I have GPUs for CNCF projects, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to, like to collaborate with them and also like provide some sort of sandbox environment for users to play with Kubeflow tools. Any other? Yeah, Chase, do you want to also add something?
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that these are all have to be ARM based, right? For Oracle to get the cloud credits, is my understanding. Because that's all the cloud credits they donate to the CNCF. We can double check with Victor, but there's also been a push towards ARM and AMD workflows, even stretching to on-prem. So I think this really could help engage with those communities as well.
Also, it's really important to note that the new NVIDIA servers are ARM only. Like GB200, 300, all these following ones are going to be ARM only. They are ARM only.
Right. So we could definitely get some. I know even talking to the CNCF Ampere, right? They're a huge sponsor. They platinum sponsor. So can we get resources from them and help with getting maybe some support from that community? I think there's an opportunity here to continue bridging gaps into these different spaces.
So what are your proposal? Do you have a specific proposal, Chase, or Andre? What is the proposal here?
Yeah, I think I'll start. Yeah. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yeah.
I think just in this Akash, sorry, like to interrupt. We're also like working to enabling GPU infrastructure as part of like in Kubeflow CI/CD. So I think this also will be very valuable for us to test out some of the notebooks and examples we're developing too, especially on fine-tuning side, because right now we just don't have any GPUs to test this out. So I think we also can talk about it after this demo. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is demo. So I think why we are doing it, and you already talked about. So regarding details, I mean, I was exploring GitHub self-runner, where basically for any CI action, we can use our own infra for running any task. So there is something called GitHub self-runner, and kind of advanced version of there is a ARC from GitHub, where basically you can have your own cluster to run any of the CI tasks. My idea is, or at least like what discussion me and Andrew and Victor we had is to use Oki, Oracle Cloud Cluster with ARC for sustaining this particular proposal, where maybe running any other model during KubeCon or even running any generic model from the Kubeflow community as well. So how it is generally, and regarding one more thing, I think for our GPU, the requested GPU from Oracle is the requested cluster from Oracle should be GPU should have GPU. So I think that is there, and by default, again, I have put in references. By default, all the GPU drivers are already installed in Oracle OK cluster. So coming to the main architecture, how it is, generally we will have a cluster with a specific GPU pool and obviously some of the metrics or even some of the CPU pool. Let's say again a very situation I'll give you. Let's say we have KubeCon where we want to showcase some of the LLM model using Kubeflow ecosystem. I'll show you. I have a sample setup where basically I used my own system to run one of the CI tasks. I hope you guys can see the images. Where running one of the few tests, I use my own system where the similar thing we want to apply on the OK cluster if whenever as soon as we get the cluster. How the structure is, as let's say any user or any audience trigger want to play with any of the node pool, it will go to our dedicated CI action where again one reason is cost, second reason is security that has to be manually approved because again GPU are not very cheap, they are costly. So let's say if one of the maintainer approves it, we all are the only difference or only major step we have to test it whether to use that OK cluster for running the GP model. Everything else GitHub already take care of. And most of I have tried a sample where running my own code on my own system. So you can see this is basically three test I ran on my own system. This similar thing we want to achieve with the OK cluster with GP pool. I'm yet to give a proper demo with the GPU part, but with CPU, I think you can check out this branch where this I have forked the GitHub the container repo where some of the few of the tests are running on my own system. So this is there. Some of the references I have put it here where regarding Oracle cluster, regarding how to install GPU and other things are there. So this is at least from my side the proposal.
So, Andre, I think this is about.
Yeah.
So I think we might have some confusion about like the thing that's being
Yeah.
proposed here. Is this for tests or is this for something else?
No,
Yeah, I think I
this.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
Go ahead.
yeah, this particular, like the demo we had, this is for tests. You can run any CI action or any LLM model with that. I'll maybe update it accordingly and I'll share in the group, share in our Slack channel where you can run dedicated LLM models using this infrastructure. This demo particularly uses CI tests. So this is just an example how whether we can use self-runner infra for running any of the CI actions.
So I think there's,
So
yeah, as Matt said, there's two paths here. We want to discuss how can we use this for tests as well as how can we benefit and look for people that want to develop on Oracle and help this OKE effort to have kind of one-click Kubeflow on Oracle. So I think there's two different conversations here.
to be very clear, like this particular discussion, okay, this is about the GPU pool because again, we are in discussion with Oracle. I mean, I work there as well, so we means like both as a community member as well as employee with Victor as well, where Oracle is planning to donate some of the CPU pool cluster with to Kubeflow or CNCF. So plan is to use those infra for this LLM task, let's say for any KubeCon or even running some of our GPU intensive tasks. For any CI action, that is different case. I mean, that we can do in depending on our use case. This sample actually runs a CI action, which is just for demo because I didn't have actual GPU to test on. This is running CI action, but our main aim or the proposal is for running LLM based tasks on a GPU cluster.
Yeah, I think that
yeah,
let's have a discussion offline too, and I think then have more of a concrete proposal and understand kind of what your team's doing, and that'll help us understand how to recruit folks.
Sure. I'll maybe format this doc and share in the community for everyone to review.
Andre, I think you had something specific.
Yeah, so few things, right? So I think as Matthew and Chase also mentioned, I think this will be helpful for us to test our infrastructure, to test our notebooks on which require GPUs to run. That makes sense. I think like the question, Akash, that I have, I don't know if you already talked with your team. So you can give us a cluster which already has pre-installed GPU nodes, right, and all the drivers. So will it be possible to use this cluster during some sort of workshop at conferences so we can deploy Kubeflow instance there and allow, users and folks to experiment with it? Not about managed service, but at least, for some period of time. Have you got? Good.
Yeah, okay. Two questions. I'll answer accordingly. First is from Oracle, can I give or when can give? I think Victor will be, to be honest, Victor will be the best person for this to ask whether as a company how Oracle is providing or what is the process. I have joined like 10 months before, and frankly speaking, I don't have much say there. So I think for that Victor will have much say there. Then your second question, can we run a during workshop or let's say any KubeCon? Yeah, I have tried because internally I have my own cluster, which I cannot obviously show demo here. I have tried that running self-runner task or any other task. So yeah, definitely we can run. And again, this is not just specific to OK or any other cluster. This is the GitHub, the infra which provide like the ACR and the whole flow is true for any cluster with GPU support. So it can be GCP or any cluster. So Oracle, just because I have tried on OK from my company, I can say that, yeah, we can use that. I hope that two different questions I
So
answered. But
from GitHub runners, that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense, and I understand like we can use the like the Oracle resources to run our CI/CD right on
yeah.
OK. I think it's more about maybe we need Victor in the room, because I think the question is there any interest from Oracle to actually pre-install distribution and of the Kubeflow on the cluster. So they can also, because I remember we've been discussing with Victor before that they also want to have this story around, Gen AI on their infrastructure, and we can help them to build this story, right? So, not sure if Chase, if you had additional conversations with them after our initial sync, or not yet.
No, I haven't. I think I'm going to talk. Victor and I are going to talk as well on some of these
Okay.
topics. So should be good. But I do think there's a lot of excitement around it, and we're looking for volunteers, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. Go ahead,
I
Mitch.
just want a quick question. So like I know that maintaining GitHub self-hosted runners does take engineering effort. So is Oracle going to be providing this, or are they just going to be allocating the instances into a cloud account for us?
Okay, this is actually a good question. I think the first answer about whether Oracle is giving or not, or whether how the flow, that Victor can answer. About engineering effort, I think this is where I come in. I have contributed to Kubeflow before, and personally, I would like to contribute to this engineering effort. So to be very clear, this engineering part or actually writing this whole flow that I'm interested to contribute here. Then Oracle giving infra, that part, I think Victor will be the best person to ask for.
So what I'm saying is the CNCF, like, is it going to be that like these instances get assigned into an Oracle account owned by the CNCF, and then the CNCF's DevOps team assigns it to our GitHub runners? Is that how it's going to be? For this exact workflow, for this workflow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how CNCF and Kubeflow like work, but whoever get assigned, I think they can assign as a cluster, like as self-runner. Like assigning a self-runner, we as anyone who has access to the cluster can actually use that infra for self-runner. So that depends on how Kubeflow and CNCF compete. I'm not very aware of that. So
I
again, my
imagine it's
point,
going to be like the existing self-hosted runners that the CNCF provides, which is like there's someone, I don't know who maintains them, but that's the problem. Maintaining them actually, even if someone needs root access to that cluster, not us, but like probably someone in the CNCF who then assigns it into the Kubeflow project. You know what I mean? Once it's there, but also keeps it up. Like if it goes down or that needs upgrades. Like it's a Kubernetes cluster, right? So it needs upgrades. It needs maintenance. It needs someone who can be on call, right? So probably it makes sense to centralize that in the CNCF and then have Oracle provide the resources if they want to help make sure that that stays up into the CNCF itself, and then the CNCF can give access to various projects, including us.
I
yeah,
think
that
we
can be
already,
one.
yeah,
Yeah, please.
we already have actually pending PR from one of the members of CNCF to migrate us to Oracle self-hosted runners. I linked it to the chat, but it's on CPUs. So I think like Matthew, CNCF maintains those VMs for us, so we can just use them. My only question, if we use self-hosted runners with GPUs, so Akash, do you know, can we use GPU there, and what cluster do we need to install? Like, will it be kind, or how do you going to propagate GPU to this?
Remember, GitHub Actions run within a Docker container, so you have to run
Okay.
kind in. So
Yep.
even a self-hosted runner, the
Yep.
fact that the self-hosted runner is running on Kubernetes is transparent to us. We don't see any of that, but you
Yeah,
do.
makes sense.
So what will happen is the exact same as right now, except the difference is that VM, which is actually a container, will have a
Yep.
GPU, or if it's a GPU instance,
So
will have
yeah,
GPU
yeah.
mounted to it.
So my question is like on the kinds, do we know if we can use GPUs? Because
Oh, you definitely can. You definitely can. Yeah.
yeah, I
On
know there is
kind
some
or
effort. Yeah. Yeah,
on
go ahead.
OK, are you asking?
So we're asking about, so you run this VM, right, which is self-hosted runner, which has GPUs, right? VM by itself.
Yeah.
But you need to have a driver, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
can, and you also need to make sure the client, see this
So,
GPU.
no, that's managed by the so in the same way that any Kubernetes cluster uses GPUs, the way that it works is the Kubernetes cluster knows that it has GPUs, and so that you install the NVIDIA container toolkit on the host of not the toolkit. What I'm saying is, you install like when you install the driver for NVIDIA GPUs on a Kubernetes cluster, it will make sure that all this works. That's what I'm saying. Like this is fine. And so
Yeah, but
from
my
our
only question was
perspective,
we still need kind, right? We still need kind,
but
which
that's within the CI/CD. We already have it. It's exact same as what we're currently doing, right? Or
yeah, yes, we're creating kind on those VMs. But the propagation, like, kind running within Docker, right? You need to make sure your NVIDIA is visible within the Docker runtime, right? Like because it is inside the VM, right? Like you still need
it does
to.
take a setting. You do have to install the
Okay.
the NVIDIA DRA or traditional driver onto your kind cluster. So like effectively you create a kind cluster, you install the DRA. Again, it will only be one node because you can only do one node in this.
Yeah, I understand. So basically one node of GPU. Yeah, so it makes sense. So I think again, Akash, I think it will be nice for if you can explore this as well. So like if just NVIDIA GPU operator is sufficient to install, we need something else to make sure the client has access to GPU, right?
Yeah, I think I got your question too. I mean, this I
Mhm.
have to solve because I still like again I don't have access to a GPU based cluster. I have a CPU based. So there is a GitHub repo. I think I'm exploring that where actually they laid out plans how let's say GPU pool or GPU resources can be used in Oki. There's again a GitHub repo. I have not tried actually because I don't have access. But that process because most of the like Oki cluster with GPU are used by industry. Like this is already in production in most of the company. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
yet
think
to
this
give
way.
I'm yet to give a
Mhm.
clear like how exact answer, but I'm assuming that answer will be yes, yeah, we can use in kind or even directly also, like without any multiple or very complex stuff. Like obviously it will require one-time setup to set up all the infra of the flow, but it's
Mhm.
like most people or most industry already uses it. Like there is already a lot of customer you can see on the Oracle website using the GPU based cluster. So this answer, I cannot give you that exact technical answer, but like theoretically, yeah, it should be possible and it will be possible.
Yeah, it sounds like we might have to go up the chain of command too to get dedicated GPUs or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe bring in
Yeah.
other people. Again, this is just aligning who's interested in what. Um, yeah, sounds like a greater conversation. We probably guys need to move on for time, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Francisco, can you take back over? All right, there you go.
Yep. Let me share my screen. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Thank you all. Valentina, I think you were next.
Yes, hi. So we were discussing, can you hear me, see me? Yes. So we were at KubeCon, as you know, already almost a couple of weeks ago, and we wanted to have some space in this meeting to, have a discussion around what we can do better next time, do a small retrospective. I don't know if we have enough time to do that. So I can start maybe with our maintainer session. I think we have around 200 people. When we ask about the audience, what type of personas there were, were around 90% were platform engineers. So they were not data scientists, which was a very interesting information for us. So I think one of the things is we start seeing probably more platform engineers wanted to understand how they can serve as data scientists and want to learn more about AI. So we were discussing about how we can next time do a more like one-on-one level content on AI, ML, and Kubeflow, but also address what is it for them, like how they can enable the data scientists, what is the value for them, what is the value that brings Kubeflow on top of a platform. So I think that one was one of the main takeaways for all of us to see how the ecosystem is changing and how everyone knows to be involved. So there is not only the data scientists, and when we are talking, it's also many other personas from AI engineers, but mostly at KubeCon, they were platform engineers. So I think that's one of the things. I don't know if anyone wants to add something else on this.
I think Edge came up a few times. We had some people walk up and asked for support on running Edge devices and just getting deeper into the community. So I think as we start to build reference architectures that'll really help. Because we had a lot of folks say, hey, I want to do RAG. What's the blueprint, right? What's the LLM blueprint for it? What's the reference architecture that you guys bless or a distribution bless or the community's tested and validated and has some traction? So I think as we all start to see the adoption of Kubernetes and some of these architectures make it more and more into other environments, we can start to say these are things we see in the wild, that community kind of solution guidance is something that was definitely asked for and could be really beneficial.
Yeah, and we saw Kubeflow on the keynotes, which was amazing. I think that helped drive more people to the kiosk. The other thing, when we started at the Kubeflow Summit, we have around 200 people, but then when hours started passing by, there were less people in the room. And what I kept feedback from our OSPO at Red Hat, that most of the collocated events had the same problem. So during the afternoon, people just, I don't know, move on, left somewhere. So that's something maybe we can consider for the next Kubeflow Summit. I'm also interested to talk about the collocated event AI and Kubeflow Summit as well. Like, how do we see, is there an opportunity for collaboration in between the two? Because I think they have like 300, 400 people. We have around 200 people. What if we join both and maybe to, because people will need to decide, should I go to Kubeflow, should I go to the AI, right? What if, even I know some of us had to be in both events. What if we can bring both events together? So I just want to have that discussion here with all of you. Any
I think it's
thoughts?
up to, so we can definitely, just have a one event. So it's up to us to decide whether like we want a more audience to the single conference or give more room for contributors to present their work, right? Because we still have limited amount of sessions we have on AI Day. And AI Day, of course, much more powerful, much more popular because it's general event about everything with Kubernetes, right? Related to machine learning and and AI. So I don't know, like any thoughts from the community. Do you think that we should kind of stop doing summits on the KubeCon, or you like that we have our individual events in the KubeCon and give a more opportunity to contributors to present their work and users?
I think we should just start by planning what we're doing for KubeCon NA, right? Like that, and just figure out what if we're doing it. That we need to decide there, right?
Yeah, so we already applied for the summit. I don't know like if CNCF are going to accept us or decline us. They will let us know. I just want to hear like from the community perspective whether this individual summit makes sense to you or it was too overwhelming, too much work, and we want to like have this in the AI Day. We just need to understand like if we kind of decide to just do it in the AI Day, Qflow will be just one part of broader story around Kubernetes for machine learning, right? So which means like we're gonna have less talks, less like interaction and other things. So I think in general, like I would love to see more kind of end users step up and say like whether it makes sense for them to have individual events, right? Because for them it's also an opportunity to kind of sponsor this event and present their work, what they do with Kubeflow, right?
But I think when you mean end users, are you saying like AI and like ML engineers and data scientists?
Yeah, I think I'm talking about organizations who are using Kubeflow in production, not like end users. So
Right.
if the organization actually sponsored the event, they have a time to talk. I think they have 5 minutes to 10 minutes to talk and talk about how they're using Kubeflow and other things, right?
Well, this could be how we position Kubeflow Summit too. Are our teams looking for more Kubeflow talent? Are looking for more community members? Do they want to present what they're doing for Kubeflow? Again, what's in it for those teams, and can we help them? And I agree that having it more of an event where there's more networking and it's more of the Kubeflow community coming together, and we have end users.
Sorry, Francisco, you're sharing your Red Hat screen.
Oh,
Be careful. Oh
yes.
my God.
Yeah, so I think in general, just I like that we have our individual event. I probably don't like to have to compete with the idea and so sort of, audience attendance. But in the end, like all these talks will be recorded, right? And published on YouTube. So people can just watch it. And um,
Yeah, I do.
I
I mean, I do love a Kubeflow Summit. Like, I love it, and if you ask me, yeah, let's do it.
I would,
My only
yeah.
concern is, could we bring more people if we join forces? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we could discuss with the AI team and see, like, hey, can we have like half a?
I
I don't
also
know,
think
just
it's just
because
it's hard to sit for 7 hours on talks, right? So I do think, do we need to change the format and make it more attractive to people? A lot of these events, there's happy hours, there's networking, there's breakups and types of session. Can we make this more interactive, right? Where you get access to the community, and therefore other, reasons to sponsor it,
I
swag and all
we
that.
did only 4 hours, right? It was only half event. That I think we should do it probably in the morning, but I don't know. Maybe it's worth discussing with them if there are opportunities to collab, and both of us have. It could be like AI day with Kubeflow, or I don't know. And maybe both of us could have more people attending. But that's my only concern: how we can increase the audience while we are
Right.
competing with a more, generic event, right? Yeah. So yeah.
We only have 3 minutes left. I think probably let's start like this seems like a discussion thing. Like I know that lots of people
Yeah.
got their hand up.
Agreed.
Let's like whoever's organizing our NA presence. This is a discussion that I mean it looks like we've already applied to have our own one. So we're gonna have our own one for this end of this year. So it looks like we have to deal with that for now. I guess we could reach out to the AI day thing and see if they want to combine this year. But that's
It's not yet guarantee, Matthew. We don't yet guarantee we're gonna have an event. So
okay. So if we don't get it, then we might need to reach out and ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think this is a symptom of a greater problem. Yeah, let's discuss further. And I know the outreach folks are working on stuff like this, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
So let's start planning this in that channel, right? Like the next.
Yeah.
Like just one idea I had, like I mean for most of events which I attended, they're like one day earlier or one day later of the menu. For example, let's for QCon, they have like 2 day or 3 day QCon. Let's say if you want to have a Kubeflow summit, you can have like one day or one day earlier or one day later kind of thing. Because let's say if it is in India, I'll obviously go. But let's say if we're in different country, sometime like that initial hesitation will be there. So one way, like just one idea from my side, we can club like one day earlier or some like around that particular event when actual big event is happening. So instead of having a standalone Kubeflow event, we can have like one day earlier, something like that.
Yeah, I think there's lots of options. I mean, I think the best path forward is also just making sure that this is less us talking at people and more of a gathering of the community where people from outside the community or people within the community get to meet each other, people outside the community get to meet people in the community. You get to learn. I think maybe we need to evaluate what we want from Kubeflow Summit and change things around and make it more of a thing versus just listen to a bunch of talks.
Yeah, so I think this is a good thing for us to discuss with the Kubeflow Outreach Committee and kind of focus from there.
Yeah, who are these people? Is it because how we finished the proposal?
No, that hasn't been formed yet. That committee
Okay.
doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, so like we should make a decision on that is my view.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Okay, great. Can I give a quick update on the release?
That's what I wanted to get to. You've got like 0 minutes.
Okay, so we are working. I don't know, Ricardo is here. Ricardo, you want to talk about 1 to 10 quickly, the videos?
Yeah, quick 1 2 minutes for me. So we already have 110. We still have some pending topics. Matthew, let's talk about the DNS changes for the 110 docs website to be available.
Let's do that after. I can do that easily. Let's just do it after. Let's do it after. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. Last point about this is the slide deck that we are working to get the working group liaisons to work on the release video, and then we're gonna publish on YouTube. Expectations that we'll have this published till next week, and with that, we'll officially finish 110. We'll talk about 110.1 and beyond, and I'll pass to Valentina and Andre.
Yeah, so just a quick recap. Monday is the deadline for the videos on 1.10. Now we are looking into 1.10.1. So if you, the plan is to release 1.10.1. If you have features that maybe that you may be releasing in the next weeks, or you had released it after 1.10. So just reach out to us. The plan is to release it by the end of the month, but we haven't set a date yet. We are just talking with the different working groups to find out, is there something that we could release? Is there something new? Is there a new release that each group team has? So just reach out to us if you have anything that we can include in the next 1.10.1 release. That's all.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So if you're a working group and you want to release a patch, presumably don't release new features because the idea of a 0.1 presumably is like, you release a patch version. But yeah, so have you had any? Oh, anyway, we can talk about it later. But if has someone indicated that they need to release a patch?
Yeah, the pipelines released already a version, and then we are talking with Andre, but Andre had a huge release of training 2.0 that we are discussing as well.
Or should we include a 2.0 migration in a 0.1 release?
And yeah, we should discuss that. And then the manifest also, they did an upgrade on one of their versions. But the other thing is we have a proposal for the release, which is connected probably with the discussion what should be released and when. So please take a look. We didn't have time during this meeting to discuss it, but there is a proposal there to improve the release process. So please review the PR. And we can discuss it further. We are having all those discussions on the release meeting. So if you want to join, I have, more larger discussions, or just leave it your comment on the PR, please. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's obviously a really big proposal there. I wonder if we can like split it up into like a few smaller, ideas. I think that's what, you know what I mean? Otherwise, we're gonna get stuck in discussion forever about it,
I am concerned about the same. I was thinking about that. So what would be best? Maybe I was split in different PRs.
It's like find
yeah.
whatever you think that you did the release. So like what you and Ricardo obviously as well. What you think is the most important thing to do better next time. Let's just try and do that first, and then once we get agreement on that, then we can move to the next thing, right?
Yeah, no, that's
Like
great.
changing the release cadence and stuff like that's gonna require that requires like actual resource commitment. But like, what's the thing that what process or change could have made it easier for you next time? That's my question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've been thinking about that, so that's good. That's good. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, that sounds perfect.
So we're a couple of minutes over. We did talk about some of the other things. I think we largely resolved this discussion. We can continue it next week.
The only thing I'd like to ask about the GitHub Enterprise account, if anyone could get access to how to create the self-hosted runners, please reach out to me because I would like to enable on the pipelines repo. Thanks.
What do you mean by that? So do you mean access to the existing ones?
Someone with the enterprise, someone that's an owner of the GitHub org, it's the only one who's able to create the hosted runners for GitHub. So whoever is that owner.
Why you need to create them? You mean
No,
use them in pipeline?
Sorry, Matthew. It's already there. We have an issue. I created this issue. Ricardo, I think I can enable it for you. I think you should use the Oracle one for CPUs. The issue that I linked, you can take a look, and I think you already can use them because they're ready for the entire Kubeflow GitHub organization. Someone from CNC have just enabled it for us.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's sync up after the meeting then.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. I think it's already there, is what we're saying. Yeah. You just need to select it correctly in your GitHub Actions. And other than that, all the other stuff we can talk about later. I just do want to highlight that if anyone wants to help me, I want to make a standardized CRD viewing thing like we did for Swagger on the website, the APIs. So I want to have so that, every CRD in Kubeflow, there's no good open source approach for this right now. So we might have to build our own thing. But at very least, I think we can automatically, in the same way that we do for the REST APIs, generate from the Swagger JSON. I think we can just point at the CRD specs and create a nice viewer so that users can look through it. I just really want to. There's so many CRDs in all of Kubeflow, so I just wonder if this is something that. So I had some ideas. I cataloged all the examples and things, but I haven't got a proposal yet. I just wanted to highlight if someone wants to work on this or help with this, then this is I think this would be really, 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 really valuable.
Yeah, no, that sounds really, really great. Um,
Anyway, yeah, I think we're
yeah,
quite a bit over.
I would like to help, just time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish that I had more hours. That sounds great, yeah.
And also,
Well, thank
Andres,
you.
V2
Yeah.
docs for your trainer as well. I mean, we won't talk about it now, but like, when's that happening?
We can do it on Wednesday if you want to talk about it.
Wednesday?
We have Wednesday call, this training working up call, right?
I mean, I just want to highlight that we need to make sure that that gets updated because the website right now is very confusing because the V2 docs are the main docs despite it not being released. And also, there's a bunch of to-dos all over the page.
Yeah, I understand this, but I think we just recommend people to use Trainer V2 even if it's not been released. So
You know,
it's
the
fine. I
Apache
mean,
Foundation has rules that prevent that, actually, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, I
We should have
understand
rules that
this.
prevent that. You're not
I
even allowed
understand
to. The
this.
Apache Foundation explicitly, well, not the Apache Foundation, but like, they have rules which say you can't even suggest a release candidate for an end user.
Yeah, yeah, I
We should have
understand.
similar rules.
I think I think it has warning there, so it should be okay. But I'm happy to discuss on Wednesday if you think we can improve it. So
Yeah. And similarly, you can't install a training operator and MPI at the same time. But anyway, anyone else got anything they need? Francisco?
Sorry for sharing my screen like a second time. I think that's the I continue to embarrass myself. Anyways, thank you everybody for meeting today. That's all.
Of course, thank you. Bye-bye.
yeah, thank you everyone. See you soon.